Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me adjust this. That's better. That's a bit better, isn't it? YouTube, careful حال يا YouTube. It's been a hot minute still, bro. Hot minute. Emphasis on the word hot because it is steaming in this room. And that's why you see me topless, Bev. All right, you're going to have to deal with that. It is what it is, mate. It is what it is. Bismillah. Bit of the old B-Tech Red Bull. Red Thunder. If you know, mate. What's going on, guys? How are we doing? Jawad, what's going on, my man? How you doing, akhi? Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Zalba 1800. You know what? Let me just pull these up. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What are you saying? Man's laughing at the Red Thunder, bro. Big man thing. You know, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. It tastes better than the Red Bull. Wal uqsim billah, I'm not lying. I used to stubbornly insist upon Red Bull. All right? I used to stubbornly insist upon it. And one day, someone was like, it's actually one of my family members. They offered to make me a drink, and they said that they're gonna make it with Red Bull. I said, "Is it Red Bull, Red Bull Asli or Red Bull B-Tech? If it's Red Bull B-Tech, I'm not interested." They said, "Trust me, just try it." I said, "Okay, yalla, I'll try it." Bro, I tried it. It was better than Red Bull. I'm not even joking. It's not even an inflation thing. It's not even about inflation. It's making the price of Red Bull mad, even though inflation is mad. It's Red Thunder's better. So shout out to Red Thunder. They should be sponsoring me, bro. Audi things, you get me? Abdurrahman, what's going on, akhi? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, it's been a minute. You know what? Yeah, I had actually removed lives from my YouTube strategy moving forward. However, I have been advised by my team to reintroduce lives only for a brief period of time because it enables me to interact with you guys on a one-to-one basis when I open up the lines, and you'll be able to call in. And that gives two things. There's two pieces of value that go in two ways. First piece of value is you get to speak to me without paying me £500 an hour, basically, because that's how much I charge for my one-on-one consultations. And the value I get in return is I get to understand what issues you guys are facing, experiencing on a more intimate level. And with this knowledge, I will be able to create even better long-form content. So this is what it comes down to, is that I really want to understand the struggle of the everyday man. The everyday man. That's the struggle of the individual that I want to understand. The average Abdullah's in the world. I want to understand his struggle. So that's the purpose of me reintroducing these lives as per the advice of my team for a brief period. It won't be forever. It'll just be for a few months, inshallah ta'ala. So do take advantage of it. Make sure you like the video on the way in if you're looking forward to the upcoming live, inshallah. Now, today's live is actually inspired off of the back of a consultation that I had with a gentleman a few days ago. And he has given me permission to actually share his story. And it's actually a mad story, and he's given me explicit permission to share his story. I'm obviously not going to name him, and I will actually remove certain details as I share this story with you, which is the inspiration behind today's live and the thumbnail and title that you see. But I will remove details just to preserve his anonymity so that he cannot be identified in any way, shape, or form, maybe through his friends or family. However, if you're watching, bro, and you do want to come on and share your story, you're more than welcome to, because he was adamant upon me sharing his story if I so want to, and I'm going to do so. And before I get into his story, this issue of virginity, yeah, let me tell you guys something. Let me just level with you for a minute, okay? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, all praise is due to Allah, and any good that I have experienced is from Allah. I have never experienced a struggle from a young age, actually from a very young age, of attracting members of the opposite sex. That's never been a struggle I have experienced. However, prior to me going online, all of my interactions with women were obviously offline. And by interactions, what I mean is, if I was to marry a sister, I'd actually have to meet the woman in real life. I'd have to come across her somewhere, somehow in real life. It wasn't like through a dating app, with which I've never used. I've never actually used the dating app for the purpose of finding a wife. It wasn't through some type of it was just basically in real life. Tell a lie, that's not even true. There was one sister that I met, or she added me on Facebook. Now I'm showing my age. This is way back. We're talking years ago, nearly 10 years ago. Aside from that sister, the only interactions from a marriage perspective that I have had with women has been in real life. However, and this is what I want to share with you, okay? Since I've come into the online world, alhamdulillah. Since I've come into the online world and my quote unquote social status, if you like, my social pedigree, at least from an online perspective, has grown. Bro, I'm not even joking, yeah? Social media or social status, having a large social media following, organically large, not buying your followers, obviously, it's a freaking cheat code, bruv. And you get to see things that might shock the everyday man. Wallah, you might be shocked. Firstly and foremostly, these women have an opportunity to fall in love with the idea of you. And I need to be very clear on this, okay? It's the idea of you that they're falling in love with, or that they are falling for. This persona, this image, this thing that they see online. And I've made this very clear. Like, sometimes I get excessive praise in the DMs and the comments online, and really, like, I feel sick, Yani. I feel I thank you, I really appreciate it, but Yani, wallah, you don't know. I'm just showing you the best stuff. You're just seeing a highlight reel. Because why would I show you my dirty washing? Why would I moan and gripe and complain about what's going on in my life? Obviously, I wouldn't. But then, as a result of that, people think that you have some type of perfect life or some nonsense like this. And women in particular have an opportunity to fall in love or fall for the idea of you, this individual that they have exposure to every single day because they are following him online. Bro, I'm not even talking about, obviously I'm talking about Muslim women, yeah? I'm not even just talking about the single sisters. I'm talking about some of them are married women. Married women. And obviously, bruv, like, I'm not stupid. Do you understand? Like, I know the game. I'm not going to be dumb and make some dumb mistakes on DM. Let me give you a rule for life when it comes to talking to women on DM, online, on social media. Whenever you're interacting with a sister online, on social media, with a view to marry her, I'm assuming, because that's the only time you should be interacting with her, unless it's for business or something professional or whatever. You need to be talking to her, thinking in the back of your mind that the whole world is watching you, and that one day your DMs will be leaked and exposed. This is the mindset and the filter you need to have when you're talking to women online, because one day they might just do that to you. And if you can't stand by what you said, your reputation is going to get dragged through the mud. So you can take that, and regardless of whether you have social status online or not, whether you've got a big following or not, but when you are talking to a woman, to a sister, for the purpose of marrying her, just make sure that you are talking to her with this filter in your mind, that you are prepared, I can't decide whether to look here or to look there, that you are prepared potentially for those DMs to get leaked one day. Maybe you blow up and you become some big guy, and now women are like, oh yeah, let me get this one on him. So always keep that filter in your mind. It's so important. And anyway, Allah's watching you, Yani. If that's not motivation enough, Allah's watching you. But after that, just have that filter in your head. I digress. My social media followings are small compared to the big boys, right? Small, very small. My Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube. But compared to perhaps the everyday man, it's big. Okay. And it's like a funnel. Your social media platforms or channels literally turn into a funnel of women coming into your DM, soliciting you for the purpose of marriage. Bro, they don't even care if you've got 4 wives. They don't care. You think women don't want to do polygyny? You think women are not down for it? Let me tell you something. Yeah, all of this was that they chat. I would never be a second wife. I will only be. Bro, it's all BS. I am telling you, 9s and 10s. Some of them are not even Muslim. Some of them are not, they don't care, bruv. They literally don't care. If they want you, they want you. Now, some of them are gold diggers. That goes without saying. But others are willing to forsake, bro, you know, like Misyar type of arrangement. They're willing to forsake everything just to have a piece of you, just for the chance, the opportunity to have a shred of your time. They don't want your money. I just want a piece of you twice a month. I'm not joking. And when I see this stuff play out, I think back to younger me. I think back to, okay, you could say on a small scale, my DM, wallahi, and if I didn't fear Allah, okay, if I did not fear Allah and I had no conscience, because I have both, I fear Allah and I have a conscience, and the two are slightly different, and I'll explain to you what I mean in a moment. I would run through these women, bruv. I would run through them and I would ruin them, and then the everyday man has to pick up what's left over. And this is what has happened with social media. And by Allah, if it wasn't for the fact that I fear Allah, number one, and then number two, that I have a conscience, meaning I could just marry and divorce like hundreds of them if I wanted to, but I have a conscience and I can't do that. Like, it just doesn't sit. It doesn't sit in my heart. I can't do that. I'm a keeper. I'm not gonna lie to you, bruv. Yeah, I'm a keeper. If a woman's good to me, I'm gonna keep her. I ain't gonna get rid of her. If she doesn't give me a reason to get rid of her, I'm not going to get rid of her. Simple as that. I'm not a mutlaq. I'm not a serial divorcer. But that's me. I don't know what the other brothers are like. But what I do know is that they are also getting that type of traffic, the other influencers, Muslim or non-Muslim. And it's like a tiny minority of men are having all of these women in their DM. Many of them are actually either marrying them or linking up with them, hooking up with them, whatever. Then they get ruined, these women, they get subsequently ruined. And then the everyday man is left to pick up the pieces with this sister. And then she tries to finesse the game. Oh, brother, I've never been married before. Or if she was married before, oh, brother, he was terrible. He was making up all sorts of BS and nonsense. And meanwhile, she can't get the thought and the memory of him out of her mind, out of her head. So the purpose of this live is to address a story that a client shared with me of his experience with a woman, his wife, who did exactly this to him. Let me fix this filter, bro. What the hell is going on here? That's better. Before I do that, though, let me pull up this super chat real quick. Shout out to Jawad. Jawad, you're the sponsor of the stream, my man. $5 super chat. I'm going to keep that up, Habibi. Jawad's one of the day ones, bro. Jawad is from the day ones, bro. I remember you from when I had like 20 people on a live. Jawad would be there for the lives that nobody was watching. 48 laws of power and all of that. You remember those, Akhi Jawad. Jawad is the day ones. Don't remember you guys. I remember you guys. Shout out to you, bro. Jazakallahu khairan. Thank you for your work. Long time no stream. May Allah bless you and your family. I must become the alpha unicorn. My guy, Hayakallah Jawad. I appreciate you, Akhi. Wallah, I appreciate you. Jazakallah khair. So I had this consultation with a client a couple of days ago. The brother, normally on the consultations that I have, okay, oftentimes what can happen is the client can, because they've got so much in their mind that they want to share with me, they find it difficult to articulate their thoughts in a constructive manner because there's so much going on in their head. This brother, firstly and foremostly, he's a high-level professional. He's an educated, high-level professional. And secondly, he spoke for 35 minutes non-stop, okay? 35 minutes non-stop without interruption. And I was completely engaged and hooked the whole time, like I was watching a flipping Oscar award-winning cinema movie, bruv. It was like that. And I'm not going to do his story justice, excuse me, but I'm going to give you the long and the short of it. Shout out to Red Thunder. Flipping mandatory, mate. Now for some sparkling water, son. This brother, this gentleman, not an average Abdullah, mind you, all right? More along the lines of an exceptional Ilyas. He meets a sister in his university. This brother is based in the West. I'm not going to say where in the West, but he's based in the West. He meets a sister in university. He said to me, you cannot believe the haya, the shyness, the femininity that was oozing from this sister. You cannot believe it, yani. So firstly and foremostly, she was homeschooled, raised in a conservative Muslim household, and a righteous upbringing. And he said, you cannot believe the shyness and the haya that this woman had. It was like incredible. I approached the sister with a view to marry her. And she responded to me. And she said, no problem, brother. You need to speak to my father. And actually, you should have your father call my father. It was like a gold standard response. She wasn't interested in entertaining any type of long communication, some long chit chat. No, she wanted to go straight to the halal. MashaAllah. Salli ala nabi. The families get involved. They speak with each other. A short while later, man and woman are united as one, and they become husband and wife. Just like that. He said to me, this woman, her shyness, her haya was so much that for the first 2 weeks of our marriage, she couldn't remove her hijab. She was so shy to take off her hijab in front of me. She could not remove it. That's how much her shyness was. Eventually, she became comfortable enough with him to remove her hijab. And of course, as you can imagine, if she had not removed her hijab in that time, it means that the marriage was not consummated in those initial few weeks where she was trying to, get over her shyness with her new husband. Remember, sister, never married before, raised in a conservative Muslim household, homeschooled no less. Pay attention to the details, because the devil is in the detail. The weeks go by, the months go by, the years go by. They have a beautiful child. But there's a problem. And that problem is, as he mentioned to me, that his wife suffers from severe form of anxiety, to the point where she is constantly on the brink of having a nervous breakdown, a meltdown. And so the brother decides one day that in order to provide some type of solution to this problem, to this nervousness that she constantly has, he decides to give her some THC. THC, if you guys don't know what it is, I'm gonna give the bro science explanation of what THC is, but it's a derivative of weed somehow, but it does not contain the, what's the word? The psycho something. Somebody put it in the comments. The psycho something ingredients, psychoactive ingredients, meaning you're not going to get intoxicated from it, but it does have some type of relaxation effect on the mind. Bro, I don't know how. I don't know how it works. I've actually never tried it before. I don't know, but apparently it's good stuff. All right. THC, CBD, that's the one. CBD, and it's got THC in it, something like that. And all I know is that it's from weed, but it's not weed. They're 7 years into their marriage. They have a child. And he gives her this CBD that contains THC. The ingredients start to take effect. The sister begins to relax. Her anxiety begins to leave her. And with the loss of her anxiety comes the truth of her past. And out of nowhere, out of the blue, she drops an Oppenheimer on our brother. She drops the atom bomb on him. And she says to him, for reasons I know not of, the only thing I can think of is that she was in such a relaxed state that she was just, just vomiting at this point. And she says to him, by the way, husband, I wasn't a virgin when you married me. The brother looks at her and says, well, what are you talking about? For the purpose of this story, let's name them. Adam. Adam looks at her and says, what do you mean? What should I call this sister? Let's call her, I don't want to give her like a lofty name. Do you understand that? And I don't want to call her, give her a low name as well, out of respect for the brother. Let's call her Sarah. Adam says to Sarah, what do you mean you weren't a virgin when I married you? What are you talking about? Like, not only did you say you were, but you had all the signs of it. You couldn't take your hijab off in front of me. She said, no. I did have sex with another man before I married you. For 3 years. For 3 years, Sarah was having sex. Sarah, homeschooled from a conservative Muslim family, Sarah, was having sex, continual, consistent sex with another man. A non-Muslim man, no less. She continues in her episode of Verbal Diarrhea that this affair continued all the way up until 2 days before she married our brother Adam. Let me just say that again. They were in talks for a period of weeks. It might have been months, but a period of weeks before they actually got married. But Sarah was continuing to see George, let's just call him George, and having sex with George, and sleeping with George, and going out with George. Or she claims, because the plot thickens, 2 days before she married Adam. Okay. The story doesn't end there, however. Because when Adam married Sarah, he moved her to a completely different region that requires a plane. It's a plane ride away. It's not a car journey away. It's not a train journey away. It's a plane ride away. And he goes on to mention that during the initial couple of years of his marriage to Sarah, Sarah would go back to, quote unquote, see her family for a number of weeks at a time. And then he continues and he says to me, I'm not stupid and you're not stupid, Mahdi. And we both know that relationships, to quote his words exactly, don't end on a dime. She's telling me she was continuing to have sex with George all the way up until 2 days before she married me. You're telling me that just stopped just like that out of nowhere? Said, I don't have proof and I can't make the claim because I can't prove it. But it only makes sense that each time she was going back to see her family, she was undoubtedly going to see George, although this cannot be proven. Allah knows best. Sarah bled on her wedding night. And Adam confronts her with this. What do you mean you had sex with another man? What do you mean you were having sex with another man for a period of years? What are you talking about? You bled on your wedding night, on our consummation night. I'm sorry, because they didn't consume the marriage on the first night, if you recall. They consumed it a number of weeks afterwards, because the woman couldn't even take her hijab off in front of him. Allegedly. What I mean by allegedly is it was all a facade. We'll get to that in a second. She responds in her moment of verbal diarrhea, of openness, of her mind freed from the lie she had been living over the past 7 years, and says, yeah, you have no idea how hard that was for me to time us having sex for the first time with my period. Imagine you are in Adam's situation right now. You've been married to a woman for the past 7 years. She told you she was a virgin. You believed this all of this time. She's put on an Oscar-winning performance for 7 years straight that she is untouched. And then she tells you that she had sex, not just once, in haram, for years, with a non-Muslim man. No, let's somehow, it feels worse when it's with a non-Muslim. I don't know why this feels infinitely worse. For 3 years. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, she actually timed having intimacy, marital intimacy with you. I want you to imagine, you are in Adam's shoes. She timed having marital intimacy with you on the first day of her period, so that she could give the illusion that she was a virgin. Now, don't get it twisted, yeah? Not all virgins bleed on their wedding night. Just to make that clear, okay? And a number of women also have had their hymens broken through, as if by accident, riding a horse, gymnastics, or some type of impact and force. Or indeed, if they had a masturbation problem when they were younger, they can also break their hymen in that way. There's a number of ways the hymen can go. That's the bottom line. And even if she has her hymen, not all women bleed anyway. However, the audacity, the sheer nerve of this woman, not only to do it, but to then admit it. Yeah, I was playing you. Sorry, my guy. Big man thing. I played it well, though, innit? 7 years. Imagine you're this guy. Imagine you're him. And the story continues, by the way, onto many other things, of which is not relevant to today's discussion, to do with money and fraud and all sorts. It gets super, super mucky and messy. But the point, or the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention, is because I remember as a young man how important virginity was to me. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, bros, okay? I'm just gonna level with you. You get to a point, once you've had enough experience with women, hopefully in halal, where this virginity thing becomes a bit of a non-issue. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, it's a different story if you're looking to make her the mother of your children, then the bar does go back up again, okay? Which doesn't necessarily have to be virgin. But this comes with experience. This comes with knowing your own competence, knowing your own capability with women. It kind of like becomes it's not like I'm not trying to say that you're going to get with someone who's been absolutely ran through. I'm just saying, if she's had a husband before, or she's had a couple of husbands before, you're not going to really care too much if you yourself have had enough experience with women as well, because you know yourself and you know what you can do. Doesn't mean I'm going to take any old woman who's been ran through. It just becomes a little less important. But that was not the case for young Mahdi. And undoubtedly, that's not the case for you watching me right now too, especially as a Muslim. Majority of you guys who watch me are Muslim. And whether you're Muslim or not, the majority of you, not majority, but a large minority of you are still virgin, involuntarily celibate. Not your own, not by choice, but just the situation is what it is, because all of these girls are in all of these influencer guys' DMs. And they refuse to quote unquote settle. So I understand and I can relate viscerally as a young man what that once felt like and how betrayed I would feel if I was in Adam's situation. The story I have just told you just now. Bro, never mind that. Never mind having if you found out your woman had actually had intimacy with another man before you. Bro, if you find out that she kissed another man, if she held another man's hand, if she hugged another man, you're going to be losing it. Bro, I know the feeling. Believe me, I remember. I know the feeling. So whilst I was planning for this live today, I was thinking to myself, what solutions, what questions, what tools can I give you to mitigate and minimize the risk of you becoming this individual or finding yourself in Adam's situation? And the truth of the matter is, people always give themselves away in some way, shape, or form, particularly when they're being fraudulent. Let me give you an example. In the case of Adam with his wife Sarah, who refused to remove her hijab, never mind kiss him or sleep with him, she refused to remove her hijab after nikah for 2 weeks. She refused to do it, point blank, period. We can see here, if we are to look with the benefit of 2020 vision and hindsight, that she was forcing the issue. She was absolutely forcing the issue. It's perfectly normal for a woman who has not had any exposure or experience with another man before to be shy with her husband on the first night. That's normal. But wearing the hijab for 2 weeks consecutively, big man thing, that's not normal. Something's going on here. She's forcing the issue. She's playing a game. She's exaggerating her shyness. She's exaggerating the qualities of virginity that men look for in a woman. This is exaggerated. And it's an indication of it covering something else up. And obviously, with the benefit of hindsight and all the knowledge and information we have now in Adam and Sarah's story, that cover-up was, I've been having sex with another man for the past 3 years. I need to give the impression that I've been untouched and I need to do a damn good job of it. Because actually, I belong to the streets. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. May Allah save us. Shout out to Somali Pirate, my guy. Jazakallah khair for the $5 super chat, my man. I appreciate you, akhi. Jazakallahu khairan. My nigga's finally back on stream. Salam, my guy. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate you, akhi. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Wallah, I don't know what to tell you, man. But what I am going to do is I'm going to open up the calls, and I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to pick my brains with whatever questions you have with regards to this discussion of identifying, finding out, how do I know whether she's been tampered with or played with before or not? And I'm going to tell you something, yeah, and there's something you guys need to accept. Let me just put this in the chat real quick. All right. Boom. All right. The link is in the chat if you want to call in. I will be prioritizing those with cams. Those who have cams will be prioritized first. Okay. Let me just actually put it here as well so I can pin it. And do me a favor, guys. There's 230 of you in here and like not enough likes, 79 likes. So like the video on your way in. Jazakallah khair. Okay. The link has also been pinned. If you want to call in, you can now do so. It's in the top pinned message. Okay. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Even if a sister is a virgin, she's never been married before. Even if she has been raised in a practicing Muslim household, the truth of the matter is the majority of these sisters will have been, shall we say, tampered with in some way, shape, or form. The majority, not all. Don't want the all police to come for me, but the majority. And by tampered, I mean maybe she's kissed the guy. I don't know. Maybe she has. She made a mistake. She was dumb. Maybe she held hands with some next guy. Maybe, she had a thing, a crush, and there's like a photo of her with him, hugging him, or some crap like that, especially with the advent of the smartphone. Yeah. Most probably, if she's a Muslim woman from the West and she's gone to the regular schools, mixed school, the vast majority of them will have had some type of like exposure and experience of some sort, especially as they come into their sexual prime very early on, as they do, as young girls do. The moment they hit puberty, they start looking like 18, bruv. Do you know what I mean? And this is largely unavoidable if she has been raised in the West and she's gone to regular state schools. And that's the honest truth. And I know that's like a bit much for a lot of you man to swallow, because mashallah, your ghira is like top level ghira. The thought of your wife having even touched the hand of another man is like too much for you. Wallah, I get it. But the truth of the matter is that's probably happened. And let me tell you something, yeah. I run these confessions on my Instagram every so often. I'll be running them again tomorrow. If you want to see some crazy confessions, go and follow me on Instagram. I'll be putting the link up tonight. And I answer these questions. And I had one sister, and she said to me, I'm a practicing hijabi Muslima. 19 female practicing hijabi Muslima. And I actually covered, I censored her message because I didn't want my audience to see it. But I'm going to share it with you here. And this is completely unacceptable. Don't get it twisted. But I'm giving you an example. Raised in a conservative Muslim household, conservative Muslima, practicing no less, 19 years old. She said to me in this anonymous confession, I don't know who she is. It's an anonymous. I don't know who these people are who are confessing, by the way. It's anonymous. She said, I'm a virgin, but my kiss count is 4. Never heard of a kiss count, by the way. My kiss count is 4, and I've given head to 2 of them. What do I do? And what do you even want me to tell you? What do I do? Obviously repent, innit? Like, what do you want me to tell you? And never go back to it ever again. Point of the matter is, this is a classic example, and this is completely unacceptable, by the way. It's too far. But the point is, this is an example of a practicing Muslima who somehow fell into haram, albeit not zina, fine, but still, like, bro, you know how you're gonna feel if you found out that your wife had done that with another man in haram before. Like, you're gonna feel some type of way, man. But this is the reality. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah, kiss count, exactly, bro. Beats me. Ramesa, assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. You're on stream.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I'm calling because I heard a story I wanted to. Well, it's not a story, but it's a situation I'm in as well. I wanted to share.
Bismillah. Go for it.
Right now I'm talking with a brother, and he really, really wants to get married. But I feel a little. Well, I am guilty. I don't want to marry him because I actually just got out of a situation with another brother where it became sexual, and
Start again.
as I just got out of a situation with another brother where it was sexual.
What does that
Um,
mean? What does that mean?
we were we were having sex.
Okay. In halal, or you were not married?
We're not married. Me and the brother. The thing is, with this brother, like, first of all, I've been celibate. I was celibate for like 11 years because I got out of marriage when I was like 30, and this brother like reconnected with me because he saw that I was still like single and not married, and he just kept pursuing me, and he kept. First, he kept asking me to marry him, and I would say I don't think so because he knew one of my ex girlfriends, so I didn't feel comfortable about marrying him. But I guess because we spent so much time together, eventually it became sexual. And at that point, I was like, "Well, let's get married." And then he was like, "No, he don't want to get married anymore."
Yeah, of course not.
So,
Of
of
course
course,
not. You gave up the cookie for free. Why would he?
yeah, basically. So now I'm like, we stopped sleeping together like 3 months ago. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm talking to another brother, but I don't want to pursue the marriage because I feel bad about what happened with the last situation.
You feel, but you don't want to pursue it because you feel bad about what happened with the last situation, or because you're just not really feeling my guy.
No, I like him, but I feel like
When you say you like him, though, how much do you like him on a scale of 1 to 10?
like a 7.
7. Yeah, so it's not white hot. It's kind of like he's okay.
No, I do. I like him, but I think for me, I feel like a fraud.
Let me ask you
Like,
one question, sister.
yes.
Who was the more virile gentleman of the two? The one you are with before, or the gentleman who is talking to you now?
You said virile. I don't understand what that means. I'm sorry.
Let me use simpler words. Who was the one who had a greater level of sexual attraction in your view? The one before or this guy?
But the thing is, the brother before, we were more in person. This one, I met him, like, we're talking on the phone. We haven't really had a time to be with each other.
Is my guy messaging you day and night? Good morning, Habibti. How are you? I hope you slept well. Is he giving you those? Dickhead? Astaghfirullah. Sorry. Yeah, guys. Yeah, sorry, sisters. Bruv, what? Good morning, Habibti. Listen to me. Sorry, sister Ramesh. You're gonna have to bear with me 1 second. Yeah. If she ain't on her knees in halal, she ain't getting no free attention, big man. Good morning. How are you? Shut up. Good morning. Keep your good freaking morning, mate. Get on your knees in halal. Then I'll tell you good morning. Okay, sister. So what is your question for me?
I think a question is, should I still consider the situation with the new brother? Because I just feel a level of guilt, and I feel like I wouldn't want to bring that into a marriage, knowing that I committed like zina, and I'm not being completely, because it's like been 3 months, but I don't want to. I just don't feel right about it.
Look, okay. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but this is the Islamic perspective. Before anything, we have to give the Islamic perspective first, and that is, you have left this sin, correct?
Yes.
You're no longer engaged in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you no longer fall under the verse in Surah Nur where it talks about the adulterer or the fornicator is for the adulterer and the fornicator, and the purer for the pure, because you have actually left this sin now. Okay, so it is permissible for you to marry somebody who is not an adulterer or a fornicator. And I'm not claiming to be an alim or scholar, by the way. I'm just sharing the little knowledge that I know of the religion. You've repented, you've left. Okay, this is great. You can't beat yourself up for a lifetime. You made a mistake, you made a big mistake. It's from the kaba'ir. However, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Verily, Allah does not forgive the one who associates partners with him, but he forgives all other sins to whomever he wills. But that's the religious advice. Now, let me give you the practical advice, Sister Ramesa. Okay? The brother that you're talking to right now, is he an experienced brother? Is he a brother who has been married before himself, or has,
He actually is married. He wants to practice polygyny at this point.
He wants to practice polygyny. What's his age bracket roughly?
He's 40.
He's 40, okay. And he has experience of dealing with women before?
It doesn't seem like it. I think I'll be the second woman he's married.
Yeah, you're gonna break my man's heart.
Because he's married, his first wife, he married when he was like 23, and he's been married to her since. And that's the part of the guilt that I feel, because I'm like, I don't feel right.
Yeah, he's not ready for you. He's not ready for you. He's not ready for you. And furthermore, yeah, if you were really into him, you wouldn't care what I have to say anyway. You'd just marry him anyway. But you're not that into him, Sister Ramesa, because if you were, me and you wouldn't be having this discussion.
No, the thing is, for me, is
I know he's a good guy. He's a good guy, right? He's a good guy, probably fears Allah, praises 5 times a day, probably offering you the world, or he's probably gonna take. He's the good guy. He's a good guy. He's a good dude. Sahalola. Yeah, but you don't need the good dude. You need the guy who he knows how to give you that. That's the brother that you need.
But that's not the thing. Is for me, I was celibate for 10 years. He's the guy I was with was the second person I've ever been with. My husband was the first person. I made the mistake by thinking this would be okay because I thought we were going to get married, but then it just threw up in my face.
For the benefit of the audience as well, obviously nobody wakes up one day and says, right, I want to fall into committing zina. No, this doesn't happen. But there are steps. What were the steps in your case, the khutuwat of shaitan? What were the steps that eventually led to it? How did it get there? Just so that those who may be in a similar situation right now but haven't yet fallen into haram,
I think
like
for
what was?
me, it's I haven't been with anybody at the time for the last 10 years. I just was focusing on my child, and I
Mm,
wanted to get married, and I was looking regularly, but it was like me being friends with him. Him talk, or I would call and talk to him about the brothers I was talking to. He would constantly like, "Oh, that's okay. You don't have to do that." Blah blah blah. You can, and he would take me out and just like act like a brother first, and
mm.
then eventually it like progressed to like, "Oh, I have feelings for you." Then I was like, "No, no, no, no," and eventually it just got to that point where I just was like, "Well, would it
Was
be
this
that
brother
bad?"
practicing? Was this brother practicing?
That was the thing. Like for me, he would take me to the masjid. He would encourage me. He would tell me to read Quran. So I started seeing him like more of a mentor. And then
Mhm.
eventually, I was like, you know,
Man started, bro. Imagine that. Man's game, man's riz was, I'm gonna teach you Quran. Yeah, go on, sister. Sorry.
yeah. And like I started to see him like, well, he's a religious person. He's not a bad guy. It's just
Why
I
didn't
have.
he marry you straight away?
He first was asking. He was like, I want to marry you. I want to marry you. I want to marry you. And then
Uh-huh.
eventually, I was
So
kept
you
saying,
said
no,
no. You said no to
no,
him.
because he was married to my ex best friend, and I kept saying no, no, because I didn't think it was right. But
My God, the
it's
plot thickens.
for me. I was kind of like, okay, we could be friends, or he can like talk, we can talk, but it would never go anywhere. And then eventually, it just progressed because I was talking to him about my life, and then he started
Mhm.
counseling me, and then he would like pray for me, take me to the masjid, and I'm going through depression, just like you know. So eventually I said, okay, I consider it. But I still felt guilty. Like when I told my mom about the situation, she started to scream and say, if you marry him, we would never speak to you again because, you know, they didn't like that he was my basically my best friend, my sister, like my sister,
Listen,
her
listen,
husband.
listen. There's no obedience to the creation if it entails disobedience to Allah. If you
Yeah.
find yourself in a situation where you're either committing haram or you fear committing haram, you got to do what you got to do,
Hmm.
because obedience to the creation is secondary, best friend or not. And maybe it's even better if it's the best friend anyway. You get on, you get on. Like, what do you want to be, worst enemies? I want to be a co-wife with a woman whom I'm her worst enemy. It's not logical. If you're friends, then maybe you can pattern it and make it work. Anyway, sister, look, obviously you've learned from this incident, and you
Yeah.
know now that you can't entertain any type of mentorship relationship with a brother except through getting married first. You understand this and appreciate this and understand the importance of this, right?
Yes.
Khalas, then don't beat yourself up, sister, because what shaitan wants you to do is he wants you to lose hope. If he can make you hopeless, eventually he can actually make you leave the religion completely. This is the one. This is the aim of shaitan. Let me make this person hopeless and give up hope completely, so that I eventually they leave the religion. Allah forgives all sins. However, I will say to you, just from the little you have shared with me with this new brother, you're not that into him, sister. And I'm convinced in your mind you're thinking I should be into him because he's a nice guy, but I'm not that into him. He's a 7. It's not like, it's not white hot. It's not burning. It's like, yeah, it's okay. It will do.
But then it's not that for me. I fear that
You're really unclear. Your sound is really unclear.
no, I said it's not that. It's I fear that I will run into the brother and he will say that like it would get out, and I will feel bad because it looks like I am just conning somebody to marry me, and it's not like what it is. He,
Has he asked about it? Has he asked if you've done this before?
no, I've never brought it up because I really didn't want to like. I feel bad
Yeah,
about it.
and nor should you. Nor should you either.
Yeah, so I didn't
Again,
want
this
to.
is this is I know a lot of the guys are gonna be like, I'm mad with this, but this is the religion, yani. I don't know what to tell you. This is the religion. If you have committed a sin, you must hide it. There's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, everyone from my ummah will be forgiven except the mujahirun. They are the one who commit sins by day and Allah covers it, and by night they reveal it. They reveal it off their own accord. And then they commit sins by night and Allah covers it. And then they go and expose themselves by day. Right? So, like, I hope this is not your real name as well, for that matter. Please don't
No,
confirm. Don't
it's
confirm or
not.
deny.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, don't confirm or deny. We'll just leave that one there.
Mm.
So, Sister Yani, moving forward, okay? Forget about the past. What's happened has happened. Repent to Allah, never do it again. But you need to be completely into this, brother, if you are to marry him. Otherwise, you're going to feel ambivalent towards him. And I don't believe that your ambivalent feelings are rooted in you feeling bad exclusively. I don't believe that. I believe that he's okay. He's good. He's a good bro, but he's not like, it's not like you'd bite your right hand off to be with him. You'd be with him because this is like a matter of convenience. He's a good dude. He's a good bro, but you wouldn't bite your right hand off to be with him. And if that's the case, I don't recommend you get with him because your mind is going to be constantly hovering and wavering elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. This was a perfect example of exactly what I am talking about. Yani, you cannot make that up. You cannot make that up. Perfect example. Man, I don't know what to tell you. This is the situation, guys. This is what we're dealing with. May Allah save us. Zelba, what's going on?
Hi, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on, akhi?
So, alhamdulillah, I'm okay. And what about you?
Very good. Which part of the world are you calling from today?
I'm from Switzerland, so my English is maybe not so perfect, but yeah, I will try my best.
Very good. Very good. Bismillah. Hit me, bro. What you got for me?
So, yeah, subhanallah, your title of your life is really good for me right now because I have maybe a possibility to know somebody via my parents. So my parents will present somebody for me, and she's young, and on paper it's all good. It's like really, really good. But my question was, so what should I ask her before going on with this story? Because yeah, we will get presented at first, and after that, yeah, maybe it will go further. But I wanted to know what I should ask her and what I should look for before I go further.
Well, what do you want to know?
Yeah, the title of this stream is one important subject, I think, and yeah, also if she's gonna be submissive and not feminist, because this is a big matter today. And in our ummah here in Switzerland, it's the same stuff. We have a lot of feminists also, and that's why we struggle to get married. It's the same situation like in UK and other countries. It's like, yeah, it's hard, and yeah.
Look, and your question you asked me was, what question should I ask? And my answer to that is, the direct route is not the route to take.
Yeah,
because they're just going to deny it. If you ask direct questions, they're just going to deny it. What you want to look for is how she conducts herself in conversation. Because a man reveals himself in how he handles trifles. This is not my quote. This is a quote from someone I can't remember. And a trifle in English can mean two things: either the pudding, which is a dessert, or a trifle is something small, basita, something like a small thing. And a man reveals himself, and a woman, in how he or she handles the small things. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the details of how they're handling small things. Let me give you an example. If you see that, let's say you lend your mate, is it Swiss francs in Switzerland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say you lend your mate. He said, "Oh, Zelba, can I borrow 20 Swiss francs from you?" It's not a lot of money. No problem. I'll pay you back in 2 days' time. All right, fantastic. 2 days come and go, and he doesn't pay you back. 3 days, doesn't pay you back. 4 days, doesn't pay you back. You meet him again for Jumu'ah in the masjid the following week. Not only does he not pay you back, he doesn't even bring it up. You can be rest assured that if this is how he behaves with 20 Swiss francs, then he will behave even worse with 20,000 Swiss francs.
Yeah, of course.
A man reveals himself in how he handles trifles. So you want to pay attention to the small details. Yani, how does she handle the small things in conversation? But one thing I can tell you is that have you ever been married before yourself?
No.
How old are you now?
27.
How old is the sister?
She's 19.
19. Okay, it's a good age. Even if she is still chaste, and inshallah she is, most probably, like, I don't want to say most probably. No, let me rephrase that. Not most probably. There is a strong possibility that she has had some type of interaction with a man, be it in school or in college or maybe in university now, in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's a kiss or just holding hands or hugging, most, not most probably, there is a strong possibility that that has happened.
Yeah,
And it is
but
what it is.
I don't. It's not a big issue for me if something like this happened, because it's. I understand that we're living in a very difficult situation, especially when we were younger, and we weren't so strong on our deen. And I have my flaws also. I have my past, and I have done some stuff also. So, but yeah, there is a limit on what you want to accept, and the limit is like the story that you told us. It told me, it's like I'm losing all hope when I hear something like that. So yeah.
I mean, look, obviously, stories like that are outlier examples. So, and outlier examples are the only one that are going to make the news. The shocking stories are the only ones that we're going to hear about on the news. But the problem with listening to the news, and even me conveying that story is a piece of news, is that you can think that this is the way the world is. It's not true. It's an exaggeration of the world. It's a snippet of the world. Yeah. Now, as to how many sisters find themselves in that situation, I can't tell you. I don't know. But one thing I do know is this, and everyone knows this, is that young women, they are at their sexual market prime. Couple that with social media and the access that they have to all sorts of men, not to mention the attention they already get in real life, all of that diminishes the likelihood of them having not had an interaction or an experience with a man of some sort. It brings that likelihood and possibility down. Are you with me?
Yeah, of course.
So let me give you an example of how you can test her agreeableness. If you want to find out how, she's got that feminism or whatever, just ask her to do something for you. Mind making me a cup of tea? Ask her directly whilst you're with the family. Could you make me a cup of tea, please? 2 sugars. Just see how she handles it. Just see. If you're having a conversation with her, hopefully you have the opportunity to have a private conversation with her. She can be chaperoned, but like, the family over here and you're having a conversation here. Disagree with her on something. Find anything to disagree with her on and see how she handles that. Does she insist upon her position? These are the trifles that I'm talking about. Does she insist upon her position? Does she insist on being right? Or does she just let it go and be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, like it's not that important. This will give you an indication of how agreeable or disagreeable she is. Go for it.
Okay, perfect.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's answering my question. So yeah, but yeah, I have to say something, because I think you are saving a lot of people right now with your stuff. So continue with it, because yeah, I have discovered you like from several months now, and it makes everything so much clearer.
I really appreciate
yeah, barakallahu fik for your work, really.
Rafiq, I really appreciate that comment, my man, and I wish you all the best with this sister, inshallah.
Barakallahu fik.
Take care, Habibi. Assalamu alaikum. Shout out to Disqualified Daz. Jazakallah khair, my man, for the 199 super chat. I appreciate you, Akhi. Shout out to Disqualified Daz and the work he's doing there. Let's bring the sponsor of our stream back up. Jawad is still the sponsor of today's stream. Let's bring the next caller on. Let's see now. We've got Abdullah in the chat. Abdullah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
What are you saying, young man? First of all, how old are you, bro?
18.
You're chatting it. You ain't 18. I'm sorry, mate. You sound like your voice just broke. No disrespect to you, yeah, but I gotta stay on the right side of the law here. Do you know what I'm saying? Can't be talking to no minors. Ahmed, salaam alaikum.
Walaikum salam, bro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. What are you saying, Akhi?
Bro, wallahi, bro. This is exactly what I've been thinking about like the past 4 or 5 days, and just yesterday I see the thumbnail that you're going to be doing a live on this issue. Bro, wallahi, I get anxiety even thinking about this. Like genuinely, it's a serious concern for me, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, like if like okay, even if we agree, like asking directly is haram.
Mm.
Sure, we cannot do that. Then how do we go about it, bro? Like, of course, some things are going to be there, like you said, holding hands and stuff, which is still okay. I mean, you're not going to be able to,
It's
like,
manageable. Manageable.
that's still manageable, yes.
Manageable.
But the thing about the virginity, bro, that is ridiculous. It's really scary. So I don't know, bro.
Well, you know what? Let me just use this as a learning curve for the sisters who are watching, because I have quite a large base of women who watch. To you sisters, like, pay attention, Yani. This is a big deal to a man. Yeah, you're to a man who's never been married before, which is the majority of men who watch my stuff are men who've never been married before, and men who you undoubtedly want to end up marrying yourself. This is a massive, 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 massive deal, and it's something that can actually cause a divorce if he finds out later on down the line that you had sex with another man. Like, it can cause a divorce. It's that serious. Yani, pay attention. So, what's your question, my man, Ahmed?
I mean, how do we go about it, bro? Like, like, is there, like, of course, we can ask the small questions, but
The truth
how much
is,
is that really going to help us?
the truth is, bro, you're never gonna know for sure completely because you can't ask directly. But there are, as I mentioned to the previous caller, there are ways of asking indirectly by looking for the trifles, how she handles trifles, and also the more simpler things like talking to her, not just her family, but the community that she has come from, the school that she's in. If she's in the school, let me tell you something. Yeah. This, bro, I don't know. Have you been here since the beginning of the stream?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
So
been.
you remember the story of Sarah and
Yeah, that was ridiculous, bro.
yeah. So it later on turns. I didn't tell you guys the rest of the story. It later on in that story is wild. Adam actually goes back to the town that she's from, and he investigates and finds her ex-boyfriend and actually confronts him to find out whether this is true or not. And the ex-boyfriend confirms, yes, I was with this woman for 3 years. So what's the point that I'm making here is that you can also run your little investigations just by going to wherever she spends her time. If she's in school, go to her school. If she's in college, go to her college. If she works, go to her workplace. But you got to do it in a smart way. You can't be doing it in a way that is obvious, because then her people are going to want to cover up for her and so on. You just want to find out, like, what's this woman like? How does she spend her lunch breaks? What does she do? You don't even need to ask her the direct question, has she had sex before? Who's going to know anyway? People do this stuff in private. Just find out, how does she spend her lunch? Does she spend her lunch with boys, with guys? Does she go out to shisha bars and shisha lounges with members of the opposite sex? Look for the trifles. And in the trifles, you will be able to make an educated assumption as to how she spends her private time, or how she has spent her private time. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, bro.
There's
It
no
does, it
easy
does.
answer to this, bro. Oh, there's no easy answer to this. And zina, unfortunately, has proliferated to ridiculous degrees with the advent of social media and whatnot. You can only do your best. That's all you can do. You can just do your best.
Yeah. Yeah,
Any
I guess
other
that's it,
questions,
bro.
my man?
No, bro, that's it. That's it.
Good man.
Also, bro, just
Yeah.
one thing, yeah? Not
Yeah.
a question, bro, but wallahi, your videos help a lot, bro. Wallahi, they do. And
Alhamdulillah.
that is, I mean, these are topics that we really need, bro.
I really appreciate that. What topics
Thank
in
you so much, bro.
particular do you find of value?
Bro, everything related to marriage and stuff, bro. Everything related to marriage and how to manage relationships. These kind of things really helpful, bro.
What are the biggest anxieties or fears you have with regards to this discussion? Other than the fact that she's not virgin. Other than that.
Other than that, bro, I'd say this is the only one. Okay, yeah, of course. Like
I get
when
it.
you're starting,
Wallah,
when you're looking to get married, of course you want her. Another concerns are like you want her to be stay at home. You want her to be a traditional one. I mean, even feminism has risen so much, so you don't want her to be a feminist and stuff. So these are also some of the few concerns. But the main thing is, yeah, of course.
But let me ask you a question, Let me ask you a question before you shoot yourself in the foot here.
Sure.
Like, okay, I want her to be a stay-at-home wife. I get that, fantastic. But are you in a position to be able to take care of the household for a woman who is going to be a stay-at-home wife, especially considering now that having two incomes has become
Sure.
almost mandatory for most
Sure,
families?
sure. And if that is the case, if I'm not this cannot be the sole provider, then I'm okay with that thing. I'm okay with both of them, both of us working. That's not an issue. But like if I can provide, then of course my first preference would be for her to stay at home.
Fantastic, bro. I'll be honest with you. I think you'll find most women actually they're like, yeah, bro, I want to stay at home. If you can provide for her and take care of her, it's like, yeah, why do I want to kill myself with work anyway? Like they've been brainwashed with it, but then they go to work and they end up getting fed up because women, they like to be their homebodies. They really are. The majority of women are homebodies. They like to be at home, just as we are the opposite. We like to be out and doing things. They like to be at home and doing things at home. But you have to make sure that you're actually able to do that first before you go down.
Sure. I get that, bro. I get that.
All right, my man. I appreciate you, Ahmed. Jazakallah khair, habibi.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nabil, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Bro, is that Muhammad Hijab's profile picture?
Yeah.
What are you saying, my guy? How old are you, first of all?
16.
16. Okay, unfortunately, my good young brother Nabil, I can't have this conversation with you online. I got to stay on the right side of the law. When you hit 18, you're welcome to hit me back. Let's have a listen. We need a drum roll, please. We need a drum roll moment, please, because we are about to Bilal. Man like Bilal. Assalamu alaikum.
مهدي السلام مهدي كده لاباس
Where's كده لاباس هذا شوية. Bro, are you streaming? Is your internet connection from flipping Mars or something?
مهدي how are you man, bro?
Bro, I miss you, bro, but I don't miss your
Good,
internet
man,
connection.
good.
Big man thing.
How's it been going, man?
Brother, are you calling me from Mars?
Oh, I'm at my aunt's house, mate. I'm at my family today.
Bro, your internet's terrible. I can't hear you. We can't see you. You're freeze framing. You're using dial-up internet.
No, I'm calling you from England. I'm in England. I can assure you. Yeah.
Bro, Bilal, listen, my man. I'd love to have you on, but your internet connection is terrible, my man. So when you get a better internet connection, you're welcome to call in, Habibi. Yunus, salam alaikum. Yunus, you're on the stream. Can you hear me? And by the way, guys, if you want to call, the link is in the top pinned comment. I'll actually put it here as well. I'll put it there again as well. Okay. Abu Hamid, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you loud and clear. How you doing, my man?
I'm very good, inshallah. Yeah, great too.
I'm very good, alhamdulillah. What are you saying, Akhi Yunus?
So, no, my name is Ahmad, not Yunus.
My bad. Sorry, Ahmed.
It's fine. Sorry, no problem. So, I have a really interesting story, if I can say it.
I like interesting stories. Bismillah.
So, Bismillah. So, first of all, I'm 27. I'm an internal specialist. I'm a doctor. Okay.
Okay.
I'm doing great in life, alhamdulillah. I've been looking for potentials like since March this year, and I've set with like 30 potentials until now. Most of them, the problem is like them going to work. Okay. And like 2 months ago, I met this divorcee. She's 26. She has 2 kids, but she gave custody to the father. She only sees the kids like once per week. And she is like so much into me. And until now,
no shit, bro. You're a doctor. Of course she's into you. She's a single mom and you're a doctor. Of course she's freaking into you. You're like winning the lottery, mate.
I mean, yeah, but the problem here is like, it's been 2 months. She is so obedient. She's so submissive.
La, so do.
And like, I'm kind of like getting tricked. I don't know if like she's. So listen, like, I meet her after working class, like, and like since meeting me, and we've been talking, and like I haven't really been paying too much attention to her because like I'm not seeing as like I'm not really into divorcees and like girls that like younger, I mean close to my age. Anyways, so like every day she saves like a seat next to her only for me. Okay, and she like if I tell her I like gum, she brings like 5 types of gum, and every time we meet, she brings me a present, and she likes like to send me messages like, oh, what about this? What about this? Like just to get my opinion. Okay, so
Okay.
it's been like 2 months, and she started like calling me she's like calling me at like 12 o'clock at night, having long conversations and asking me too many questions. Like she just wants my opinion. And what is going on right now? After sitting with like 30 girls and not getting what I want, the obedient one is and the submissive ones. I mean, I think I'm kind of getting into her.
Yeah,
But
no
some,
shit, bro.
I mean, but what happened?
Have you, wait, just wait.
Okay, okay, okay. So,
Wait. Have you ever been married before?
no, I'm single.
And you have no experience of women before?
I have. I mean, but
No,
don't wanna
just
say.
stop. Don't tell me.
Okay,
Don't
okay.
tell me.
Okay.
Okay. You've never been married before,
No,
and you're not engaged in haram as we speak.
no.
Okay, bro, you're a doctor, bruv. Get yourself a virgin sister who's never been married before. Shouldn't be hard.
Mhm. But like I'm getting slightly okay. I'm gonna tell you what happened like 5 days ago. I told her like there is no chance. I'm never gonna get married to you. I'm not
Mhm.
into divorces. I want a younger one.
Mm.
And she took it like a sham. She was like, okay, that's your right, no problem. And what happened to me, I started getting more attached to her. Like most girls, I tell them this stuff. She would start crying. No, don't leave me. I mean,
Yeah.
but this one, she took it like a champ, and
Yeah.
that like made me shocked. I mean, what's going on? I mean, why? And that kind of made me like think maybe she could be a good wife. And right now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do.
Look, bro, I'm not denying. Look, I have to have husn al-dhan of her at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm not denying that she could be a good wife and so on. But let's take the conversation away from her for a moment. And shout out to Ben. I see you there in chat, Ben. Shout out to Ben. Ben's running the whole back end of my channel. Allah khair to Ben. Let's take this situation away from her and just make an imaginary individual. All right, this imaginary individual, we're going to call her Amatullah. Amatullah, she's a divorcee. She's got a kid. She's given up her kid, but she knows. Do you live in the Arab world, by the way?
Yes.
All right, okay. So she knows, especially in the Arab world, that divorcees, is a big problem. If you're a divorcee and you got a kid, for you to get married again is a big problem.
Yep.
On top of that, not only has she found someone to be able to marry, but he happens to be a doctor, Dr. Ahmed, okay, who he himself has never been married before, nor does he have any children. Bro, of course she's going to be on her best behavior. Of course she's going to get you 5 different types of gums. Of course she's going to Abshir Habibi, Naam Habibi, Abshir Ya bin Ammi. And Arab women are very smart and clever when it comes to dealing with men as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're very smart and clever when it comes to dealing. But what do you think? Of course she is. Say to her one thing. Say to her, you know what? You know, Sister Amatullah, I will consider marrying you because you've been so good to me. You've been so nice to me, and I really appreciate that. I'll make you my second wife or my third wife. See how she responds to that.
You know what? Brother Mahdi? I actually did say that.
How did it go?
And she said, of course, I will be your second wife.
She said this?
Yes.
All right, well then fine, bro. Because look, I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is a learning moment for the sisters watching as well. A man's prerequisites for the second wife and the third wife are a lot less than the first wife. First wife usually is with the highest bar is set. Second wife, third wife, fourth wife is like, oh, okay, well, meshi, yallah, meshi. So, bro, if she's happy to be a second wife or a third wife, then khalas, no problem. Why not? Excellent, fantastic, great. So much the better for you. But marry someone else first.
So, do you think like I should focus on like 19s until 22? I mean, what do you think like is the perfect age gap for me?
It's not really. You're 27, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, preferably somebody younger than you, preferably. How are you going about sourcing your potential suitors in the first place?
So actually, because like I've been lucky, alhamdulillah. So I
Okay.
met like I met an auntie. She was like a patient for me, and she said like, "Oh, are you looking for a wife?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like she started like sourcing me girls. Like she's like, "Okay, take this one, 22. Here's her mother's number." Okay.
Okay.
And I have like honestly, you may think this is funny, but I have like 5 aunties working for me. Wallah, I swear. I mean, they give me like every time they get a new one, she would like send me and okay, check this one out.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, like I was close to getting with one, but like I mean, our main issue is her working, and some of them being submissive. Yeah, like I want mine to be a stay-at-home wife, of course, take care of the house, take care of the children, and also be submissive. I mean, that's very important for me. Alhamdulillah, I can pay, I can take care of things. But here, where I live right now, 90%. I mean, they have ambitions like to work, get get higher ranks in jobs, and I mean, their priorities in marriage is like zero. Yes.
But you're telling me she's the only one that has
No.
caught your attention?
I mean, after sitting with like 30 potentials, and this one just like agreed to like pass all my questions. Like, so most of the times when I met a new girl, I mean, that's like meeting my age criteria and the hijab, I start like asking her questions to see if like she will work for me. And this one has like has passed all of my questions flawlessly. My hard questions here. Yeah, it's very tough. I know. I can't hear you, brother. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about being with a sister who has been married before? How do you feel about that? And I want you to really take yourself deep into this experience now. You've married this woman. You've been intimate with this woman. And the first concern that's going to come to your mind is, was sex better with me than it was with your ex-husband? Is my penis bigger than his penis? This is what's going to happen to you. So I have a question for you. Okay. How are you going to manage that experience that is about to come your way? I'm just being straight up with you, bruv.
I honestly wouldn't even think about her ex. I mean, I would be like, I wouldn't even be concerned. I mean, for me, if we were married, like just like we said, I would like be focused on me. I mean, what happened in the past, stayed in the past. I would go like I want like it would just be me. Like I would even compare myself because I know like I'm not gonna say I'm better than him, but like right now I'm with her. I mean, not him.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So you're telling me then that thoughts of this man who was once with her is not going to bother you or come through your mind at all? That's what you think?
I mean, not really.
All right, then, bro. Then go for it. Go for it. If you're that unicorn brother who is able to, who's never been married before, but somehow he's able to keep these thoughts, these suspicions from entering his mind, go for it. And Bismillah. Who knows? Maybe this is her risk. You are her risk, and that's it. And that's all there is to it.
You know what, Brother Mahdi? I don't want to take your time anymore, but honestly, thank you for your input. I watched your video like about marrying a divorcee and like comparing what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said and what he did. And it was a very good video, brother. You really helped me a lot. Like, and I mean, you should take what he said and what he did, because he made like 3 divorces, and the only version one was Aisha. Yeah, but in the end, we take what he said.
Exactly.
And honestly, I'm gonna take your advice and Get a
Bro, look,
virgin wife.
you know what? Yeah, I feel bad, like I'm ruining this sister's chance. I'm just look. I just want you to like look at her as like, okay, fine, you're a good sister, you're a good woman and everything, but she has motive to behave very well with you, especially that you guys are in the Arab world, and you know how hard it is for a divorcee to get married again in the Arab world. So there's motive there, and that
Yeah.
motive, once she's got you, it may not be there anymore. She may not be the same. You're not going to know this. All right. And that's why I say, like, if she's happy to be in polygyny with you, then Bismillah, ya Allah. No problem.
Exactly.
Go for it. Go for it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right,
Alright,
my man.
brother. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot, brother.
Take care, Habibi. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Ah, sticky one, man. Right. For some reason, yeah, I've got no clue why, but my chat has completely frozen, bruv. My chat and my StreamYard chat is completely frozen. Anyway, all right, Bob, what are you saying, Bob?
What?
What do you mean, what? What's going on?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. What you got for me, bro?
How would I get better neck posture if I'm always looking down because there's women on the street?
I just got one question, bro. What's that got to do with LeBron James's legacy?
What's his legacy?
Big man thing. Next, Ahmed Bashir. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What are you saying, Akh?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How old are you, young man?
I'm 19.
19. Good man. What you got for me? Bismillah, tfaddal.
All right, brother. I got a question, yeah? So, because I'm 19, I just started university this year, isn't it? So, I was thinking about getting married early and young because I was thinking that, like, you know, my grandparents are still alive, alhamdulillah, innit? And I want them to see my kids and that, and I want them to see me get married and that. So, I was thinking that I'm doing a long course university, like 5 or 6 years, and 1 year like more for like training and that. But I was thinking, if I get married now, I have a job as well, so like the financial part is alright. Like alhamdulillah, I'm making enough money and that. But I was thinking, will I like have enough time?
We lost you, bro. Ahmed, we've lost you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We got to, will I have enough time? Go on.
Oh yeah, all right. Will I have enough time to like be with my wife and that, because I don't live near my university. I live proper far from it, so like I don't come back home that much, isn't it? So I was wondering, what's the best step to do? I just want to really want to get married and just keep it halal and that.
You're breathing into the mic. You're breathing into the mic.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Go on.
So yeah, what's your like recommendations? Because
Is there a sister? Is there a sister in the picture? I appreciate you, Ahmed. Is there a sister in the picture right now?
No, but my parents said they can find me one easily.
Do you fear committing haram yourself? Like, you're breathing into the mic, bro. You're breathing into the mic.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Do you fear? Are you on the brink? Are you on the point of committing zina, like adult fornication?
Not really, but the thing is that if I halt getting married now, I'll have to halt it for another 6 years, because that's how long my course is in university.
I got you. I mean, look, I'll share my experience with you, and maybe this will give you some clarity. I got married when I was 16. Yeah, you may or may not know. And I continued my studies. I continued through college. I actually got excellent grades, very good grades. And then I went to university as well. Now, it was hard having a wife and kids. It made university much, much harder because I had to do all my work there. I couldn't bring it home because we lived in like a 2-bedroom flat, and there was just noise like non-stop because we were having kid year after year after year. By 19, I had 3 kids already. So there was no way I could do it at home. So I had to do all my work at uni. So it became more complicated. It became more difficult, but it was doable. I did it. I graduated. I got a crappy grade, 2.2, which is the equivalent of a C, basically. And I never used the degree, you know, for anything meaningful other than spending 1 year in Saudi teaching English, but which had nothing to do with my degree. But the fact of the matter is, it is doable. It is doable. Now, are you telling me you're going to be living away on campus?
No, I'll be coming home, but I'll be coming home, but I'm worried if I'm gonna be spending enough time with her. You know what I'm saying?
You're overcooking it. You're overthinking it, bro. Whatever time you get is enough, man. It is what it is. You're on a mission. Sounds to me that you come from a well-to-do family. Do you come from a wealthy family?
Decent, alhamdulillah. Not too wealthy, but I'll say in the middle.
Okay. Well, I mean, if they're offering to find you a wife now, it's indicative to me that you have some type of financial backing of some sort, and I'm guessing your family are willing to support you in this financially.
Well, brother, I've been working since I was like 15. Like
Okay.
I started on like £4 an hour, but alhamdulillah saved up for like so many years, like 5 years I've been saving up, and alhamdulillah I'm good now. But I just need to like balance out my options and that.
If you fear falling into haram, then marriage becomes wajib upon you. You have to. If you don't fear committing haram, then it's your choice at that point. And I would say, if your family are facilitating and making it easy for you, then bismillah, go for it. It's not like you have to have kids straight away, but you've got a companion there, and having a wife, by the way, a companion makes life really much easier. All I would recommend is, like you're 19, is if you can, delay having children for a couple of years. Just enjoy each other's company for the first couple of years. And the way I would do it is that I'm going to go into details here. Some of you guys might find this a bit crude. Okay. First of all, the parents need to be involved. Don't leave this to kids. All right. Because kids are like rabbits. Teenagers are like rabbits. If you're expecting them to not get pregnant, you can forget about it unless you are going to be involved. So what the family should do is the mother, she takes her daughter after she has gotten married. She takes her daughter after the marriage has been consummated, and the mother takes the daughter to have a copper coil fitted. Easiest form of contraception that is both halal and simple. It's non-hormonal. It's just a copper coil that goes inside, that is inserted inside her, and by and large, she will not be able to fall pregnant. Non-hormonal, doesn't mess up her hormones. Don't need to rely on the sock, if you guys know what I'm talking about, condoms, okay, which are notorious for ripping. Not to mention they completely reduce the sensation in night. It's just rubbish. And then you're gonna have to remember every time, oh, I forgot it, I didn't get it, blah blah blah. Forget that. It's all long. You don't want to go to the hormonal stuff, so get yourself a copper coil. And then in that way, young man, you will be able to enjoy your newlywed wife in halal without having to worry about children straight away. You can just enjoy each other's company for the first couple of years.
Got it. What is there? If I ask one more question, yeah?
Of course, tfaddal.
All right. So my next question is, imagine when I'm trying to get married or find a wife, I'll obviously tell my parents here that first off I wanna maybe get married again in the future, so find me a wife that's okay with that, because I really don't want to get married and then in the future have to go through the hassle of a divorce because she doesn't want me.
Listen, bro, listen. What teenage girl, okay, what Western teenage girl for that matter, is going to turn around and say, after you say to her, by the way, like, you okay that I'm going to get married again? Which one is going to say to you, yes, of course, Habibi, I don't mind you spending half your time with a new woman? Which Western girl who's on Instagram and has access to hundreds of men, thousands of men at the click of a finger is going to say, yes, I agree. I'm going to marry you, Mr. 19-year-old young man who has yet to show his potential. No problem. You can marry. Who's going to say yes to that? She's not going to say yes to that. So, and this is why I say to brothers, don't bring up this conversation, because you're going to take too many L's if you bring up this conversation. But what you have to understand and deal with, the reality is, young man, if you do eventually want to go down the polygynous route, is that, and I say this to all my clients that I counsel, if you are not prepared to potentially lose your current wife, then don't bother going down the polygyny route. Just forget it, unless you're going to hide it, and you're an expert at hiding, which I am not. That's why I'm so open about my different wives with my women, because I'm just crap at hiding stuff, bro. Big man thing. It's just long. Can't be asked. I've got more important things to do. Like it or lump it. If you don't like it, there's the door. If you like it, great. Let's carry on. And they actually appreciate and respect that. But you might lose some along the way. It is what it is. It's the price that must be paid for getting into polygyny. Sometimes a woman, she'll just leave. She might regret it afterwards. she might realize she's made a big mistake, but it's too late. She's left. So I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to mitigate and minimize the possibility of you getting involved with a woman who will do that to you. But what 19-year-old girl is going to tell you? Yeah, no problem. You can marry again. I don't mind that. You understand? Do you see the dilemma?
Nah, yeah, I get what you're saying, brother. Jazakallah, yeah, you know, I proper value your opinion, you know, like
Appreciate
I
you,
know you
man.
got married young as well, and if I could, I would have got married younger, but I never had the opportunity. But I feel like, you know, financially, I'm good now, alhamdulillah, and like I've gone more responsible in that, and I really want to get married now. But I understand everything you said, so Jazakallah. But you know,
My pleasure. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you remember me, but you know, I met you in that Eid festival, the Lucy Park one. Do you remember?
What, the one that just passed?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't remember, bro. But okay, excellent.
yeah. So like, it was lovely meeting you and just carrying doing what you're doing.
Appreciate you, young man. Good on you, young man. Take care of yourself, Ahmed.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And this is it. Like, just because like, I got married young, yes. Should you do it? Maybe. Definitely, if you fear falling into haram and you're able to, then definitely. I understand that in today's climate, it's much more difficult for the young man to get married. If you're able to, then yeah, go for it. Bismillah. All I would say is maybe just hold off a couple of years before you have kids. Just a couple, like 2 or 3. When you're young, like what's the rush? You're 19. But it's a double-edged sword though, because one thing I do appreciate is when you have kids very young, they grow up like your brothers and sisters. Like you're so close in age, it's like siblings. But it's choices and trade-offs. When people say to me, should you have kids young or should you have older? Which one is better? I say to them, there is no better. There is simply choices and trade-offs. If you have them really young, then they grow up with you like your brothers and sisters. But it means that you're gonna have more financial responsibilities from an earlier age. It's gonna take you longer to build yourself financially. It's gonna be more difficult for you to focus on your studies and business and so on. Choices and trade-offs. So there is no better option. There is simply, what do you want from your life? What's more important for you? Is it more important for you to have children young? Is it more important for you to build yourself first and then go with that? There's no better or worse. There is simply what's your preference and then choose accordingly. Okay. Hamza, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How's it going?
Good, young man. What are you saying?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I just want to give some advice for the brothers because I've been married like twice.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Okay, bismillah.
Yeah.
Tell us your story.
Yeah.
What's the story?
I've got married like through the family route, and I've been married through like the internet route as well.
Okay.
I got married to my first one through family connections. So I got married to a traditional. Well, both of them were traditional women, and the first one though, it didn't really work out because I involved my family, and unfortunately, because of that, I got divorced, like in a very short period of time.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? I involved my family.
Well, it's not that I really involved my family, but like they got involved in my marriage, and it destroyed my whole relationship with my first wife.
Details are very important because families will always be involved. But what is it that you? What do you mean? What do you mean?
They cause issues. Let's put it that way. I don't want to go divulge into it too much, but basically, you know, they cause fitna basically in my marriage, and I warned them about that certain individual. It's someone very close to me in my family, and then they literally wrecked my marriage. I said, if you involve them into my marriage, you literally will destroy it. I literally said what will happen, and like foretold what will actually happen, that you will literally end up in divorce if you continue doing these things. And it cost me like a lot of money. Like, so basically what I'm trying to say is like, I would put, if I was to get married again, if I was to do it again, alhamdulillah, I'm okay now though. Alhamdulillah, I'm married, alhamdulillah, to a good woman, alhamdulillah. I would say that I would put women on probational period. I wouldn't give, it's like, we see this story happening over and over again, even with non-Muslims, where when it hit the 7 to 6 year marker, then women act different. Just like, I can give you examples with non-Muslims, obviously, but it does happen with Muslims as well. I'm sure you must have heard this, like Jeff Bezos, who else? Elon Musk, who else? There's a rapper, I think, what's his name?
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre, that's the one. That's the famous one. All these guys, it's even happened to me. Every time it hits the 7 to 6 year marker, they act different. Do you know what I'm saying? They might want money, or they might just, they want more from the marriage or something like that. You know,
I mean, I'm in the 7th year. I'm in the 7th year of marriage with one of my wives now, and nothing has changed, to be honest. Look, this is anecdotal, but what's the point that you're trying to make?
I wouldn't. To be honest, I would do with Meher. I think I would at this time period. I would actually just. I would say, because I spent a lot. I'm talking thousands. I lost so much money because I'm talking like maybe almost 10K over like getting married to a so-called traditional woman and all that stuff. Well, she is traditional. I don't want to slate her. She's a good woman, but I lost so much money because I had to go abroad to get married to her and everything like that. It cost me a lot of money and heartache and grief and everything like that. Family members got hurt and all that stuff. I would say that the next time, I would advise brothers to always do mu'akhar for your meher. I would never go straight up. Nowadays, it's not like back in the day where you would have the princess.
Why do you advise to do a mu'akhar?
Because sisters, they act different after the 6 to 7 year period. That's my experience. That's why I know it's anecdotal.
Why do you want a mu'akhar? Mu'akhar, by the way, guys, is basically like you're buying out the contract early. You're buying out the contract early. It's a fine for getting out the contract early. So why do you want a mu'akhar?
I mean, like delaying the marriage. Well, that's what I mean by mu'akhar, because basically when
is that even halal?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is. You can put stipulate a.
I don't know. That's the first time I'm hearing it. I never heard of mahar mu'akhar, but okay.
Oh,
yeah,
you can. If I could be mistaken. I don't mind. I can be.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, but go on. It doesn't matter.
I've heard that.
Get to the meat. What's the lesson that you?
I would say that nowadays you can't, like these sisters nowadays, especially in the West, even in the East. I'm sure you've heard crazy stories as well. At least my story is not so bad, but it only cost me money. Like sometimes it involves kids. Sometimes
Listen, if we stuck to the sunnah of the Prophet with regards to mahar, then we wouldn't even need this mahar mu'akhar in the first place, because we'd just be sticking to the sunnah of the Prophet. And the last I calculated, the equivalent in silver that the Prophet would pay his give as mahar to his wives, it came up to, this was a good few years ago now, because it's probably more because inflation has hit quite wild, but it was the equivalent of around £800. The last time I did the calculation, I converted what the silver that he gave in what it would be in pound sterling, is around £800. Like £800 not going to break the bank. You're not going to feel some type of way, and you're certainly not going to need a mahar mu'akhar.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that from what I've seen from my friends, I can't say myself, but I try my best. I'm just a what's it called? I'm just a normal guy. I just do my salawat al-khamsa. I read Quran. I go to Salat al-Jum'ah. Just the basic stuff. I'm not like something like some crazy da'i or something like that. I wish I was, but we can always try our best.
I got you.
But I'm just I'm an average, Abdullah, like you say.
Yeah, I got
much. You. Yeah. But even my friends as well, we all strive to get a home, to get the good job, to do all these things, to make money. We all have different levels. A lot of brothers are trying their best. But on the sister side, I'm not seeing the same kind of levels. Some sisters can't even cook. Some sisters don't even wear hijab and abaya. Some sisters don't even pray salawat al-khamsa. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like the brothers are putting the work in, but the sisters on that end is not.
I would say the mistake that you made was paying such a large mahar, 10K mahar in the first place, because you're gonna feel some type of way if the marriage goes sour. Of course you're gonna feel something. This is why it is advised to not charge a high mahar in the first place, because oftentimes a man will keep the woman just out of spite. He's like, I paid so much for you, I'm just gonna keep you anyway. You know what I'm saying?
It was actually the mahar was 2K to begin with, but the thing is, the amount of trips I had to go across the period, it was less than a year that I was married with her, since that period, it cost up to around 10K that I've been spending because of that marriage, basically over that period of time. Do you know something?
I got
Oh,
you,
that,
but
yeah,
you,
yeah.
you have to own that, Akhi Hamza. Like that's yours to own, that's the cost of marrying abroad.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying
Yeah.
I've also experienced that. I mean, I've been engaged before that as well, and the sisters are asking crazy, meher like 10K as well. It's not the first time I've heard it. I've heard it like maybe twice. I even know a family member, I'm not going to say who, but she knows who it is, right? A very close family member. She's asked the same amount. I'm like, you don't even know what 10,000 is. Do you know what 10K is? You don't know what kind of work that is. You've never seen that in your life. You know what I'm saying? You only ask Baba's money for like an iPhone 7 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's that's the most money you've ever seen in your life. You know what I'm saying?
This shows, by the way, this is proof that on some level of consciousness, women not only do they know that they are objectified by men, but they objectify themselves. Why? She's putting a high price on herself. So you have objectified the hell out of yourself. You have said, I am worth 10K. Why? We don't know. But I am worth 10K. All right. Well, if you're an object, then I'm going to treat you like one. That's how you want. It's a business. Okay. I don't need business deal. What are you bringing to the table? Allah. Tell me, where is the £10,000 worth of value that I'm getting if you really want to play this game?
Yeah.
We
I
digress.
mean, they don't. I mean, they never worked a day in their life and they asked me 10K. I mean, it's crazy, I would be happy, like, just with like 3K in my account. I'm like, oh, subhanAllah, that's incredible. I would, kiss my boss's feet or something like that. if I got that kind of money, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money,
Khair.
I don't
Khair,
know.
Do you have any other questions, Akhi Hamza?
Yeah. What would you advise? What in the future trajectory of sisters nowadays?
Yeah.
In terms of marriage, yeah. What would you say to them, like, now, in terms of, like, because they don't have anything, man. I mean, in terms, they don't even have the basics of the of being a wife. They don't know how to cook toast. You know what I'm saying? Or eggs.
What I would say to them is that on some level of consciousness, they recognize that their value to men is intimately tied to their chastity, purity, virginity. They get it, even if they won't admit it, and their youth. And that's why they do this stupidness, because they know on some level of consciousness, I only got one shot at this. And it's the truth as well. You only got one good shot at it. You only got one good bite at the apple. After that, it's like, that's why in the Arab world, for example, it's very difficult for a divorced woman to get married again. They know this. And that's why maybe men have had a part to play in this as well, in creating this problem. In the Arab world, for example, it's very difficult for a divorced woman to marry again. Women know this, and so they have adjusted accordingly, which is, all right, you're going to make it hard for me to get married again. If I get divorced, fine. I'm going to make sure I get as much money out of you as possible, just in case I get divorced. So it becomes this vicious, nasty cycle. You see the problem?
Yeah. What
advice would I give them? It's the general basic advice, bro. Nothing. I ain't bringing nothing new to the table in that regard. Like, if you see a brother, his character is good, his deen is good. Yallah, bismillah. Marry him.
All right then. All right. Just up clear, Mehdi.
Look after yourself, Hamza. Take care.
Take it.
Sharp. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam. What's going on?
Alhamdulillah. How you doing, Akhi?
Alhamdulillah. It's a funny topic. I'm in the phone industry, so I see a lot of people's phones and what they do and what they hide. Obviously, willingly, these females say, hey, go through my phone. Whatever. Obviously, we don't go through their phone, but we see stuff through the work of our profession, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, like, you have crackheads that sometimes have 60, 70, 80 men messaging her, Tinder messaging.
Wow.
And it's surprising, wallah, and you never assume that. I'm in a particular place that's known worldwide for its drug addiction, and that's the case here. So how much more so in like an Arab country where girls don't go out right now with TikTok and everything. So unfortunately, you just don't know, and even if she is a virgin, as that funny guy on YouTube, he says, are you psychologically molested?
Yeah.
She's probably like already done on a mental angle, But my advice would be, Alhamdulillah, I am seeking polygamy, and I've had multiple people accept. However, every girl has something wrong with her, whether she can't cook, whether she's not clean, whether the mom is the mutarajjila, right? The mom is in charge of the household, or if the girl's allowed to go out. So like red flags for me personally is when the father or the brother isn't in their life and they're allowed to go out and do what they want. Because you have to understand, all it takes is that one guy in that nice car to pull up on her and say something. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and khalas, he's got her. So yeah, Allah musta'an. I also think that I adhere to be Salafi, so I think it's a controversial topic and some people don't understand it. But I only marry Salafi females, so I already have a high standard, right? When it comes to that, I'm not marrying any bushra that's offered to me. And with that being said, if the girl doesn't have tawheed and she's not understanding of these basic aqaid, then how do you expect her to fear Allah? In private.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to take outliers as examples. But some of the most religious women are the biggest headaches, and she's so stuck on her manhaj, on her sheikh. She will fight to the death to defend the opinion of her sheikh over just letting it go and being agreeable, because it's like some next fiqh discussion that's got nothing to do with your life anyway, and it's just arguing it for the sake of it. So, of course, religiosity is extremely important, but in combination with an agreeable character, this is the golden standard for me, not just her religiosity per se. Because although the Prophet ﷺ said, I was not sent except to perfect good manners, a lot of these individuals, somehow they become super religious and then they're high and mighty and on their high horse and their manners go out the window.
The issue though is like, I don't want a student, just to clarify. I just want someone that actually understands that this is the way. And usually with that, certain topics like polygamy aren't as hard, right? Even though they still are hard. However, ala kull hal, to just come back to the topic at hand, I've heard a lot of stories where certain Arabic girls will get married and then her fiance invites some of his boys from college and he's like, yo, bro, I used to treat that back in the day. And then they throw everything off. A lot of stories here. And bro, like one thing I feel like a lot of people neglect is the hadith about even married women, you're supposed to please your female before you basically climax. And I've seen this funny post recently. It said irdiha bil-layl tardik fi nahar. Basically please her at night and she'll please you throughout the day with her chores and her rights upon you. And I feel like we neglect that because it's not just for the virgin. I mean, you could marry a virgin, then she's cheating on you, right? She's every other guy that gives her a look, every shab that looks her way, so again, it's a matter of being the full package as you promote, right? From every angle, whether it's your business, whether it's your personality, being fit.
Well, bro, there's a whole bunch of sisters who will be watching this. If there is a sister who aligns with everything you've spoken of, how can they get hold of you? Might as well. What's your Instagram?
I don't do social media, but I have my this new brand we just launched. It's called myphone.ai. It's always going to be a worldwide brand. So I guess that's the only way to contact me.
Well, there you go, sisters. If you're looking to link up with our bro club there you go. Second wife too.
I want to learn the British accent. Is it?
Yeah, just don't say your T's basically, and you're good.
How do you guys pronounce water? Water. That hurts my jaw. Water.
Water.
Yeah, Allah yahfadkum.
I mean, yalla habibi. Take care, man. Assalamu alaikum. All right, let's see who we got here. Abdullah Frenchie, salam alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله يا عم هذيك كيف حال؟
Alhamdulillah. What are you saying? Are you actually French, mashallah?
Yeah, I'm French, bro. From Paris.
Ah, oui, très bien. What are you saying, my man? What you got to add to this today?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm listening like last 30 minutes. And I want to start to, because I'm kind of, let's say, I have the red pill mindset, I know what red pill is.
Yeah.
I understand it. I read a few books about this Rollo Tomassi, all of them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have this kind of knowledge. But in France here, they are like, they miss this. They think because women are Muslims, red pill is not, it cannot apply to them. You know what I'm saying? And in France, they're so deep down, like when you speak about this, they're like, no, they're Muslim, it's all right, but you know what I'm saying? So basically, what I try to do now, I want to start some, channel and speak about this. But I don't want to be well known, like people know my face, you know what I'm saying? So what's your advice? What kind of content you can advise me to do, you know what I'm saying?
How old are you?
I'm 33 now.
33. You've been married before?
I'm married, 3 kids, alhamdulillah.
Okay, so then what's the problem then?
Yeah, I used to be in sports. I used to sport high level, so and the finance are good. Everything's good. Alhamdulillah. So I try
So
to.
you want a second wife?
No, I'm just starting to. I want to make content, like
You wanna make
channel speak about red pill. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like
bro,
you,
just start, bro. What do you want me to tell you?
No. I mean, I don't want to be people know my face like you. So what kind of content can I make? What's your advice about this?
Bro, I don't. I don't really know how to answer that. But one thing is, just out of respect for the audience, it's not on the topic of today's discussion. So, I don't know, use some AI tools or something, and then have a voiceover done, and just write. But that's the best advice I have. But do you have anything you'd like to add on the topic of today's discussion? Just to
yeah, for sure. And because people like I said at first, people they think like Muslim girls, this cannot apply to them. But what I want to say to all of the guys that want to get married, some kind of advice, let's say, don't think because she's a Muslimah, like the guy said just before me, when the man was talking, my phone, just because she's Muslimah, all these things cannot apply to her. So be aware, be like, get some knowledge before to get married. Don't get married just like, okay, she's a Muslimah, it's all right. Like have high standards. Check properly, check the family, check the way she behaves with her mother, with her daughter, with her dad, you know what I'm saying? So what I say to people, like, don't think because she's a Muslimah, everything's going to be all right. No.
Yeah. I got you. Abdullah, I appreciate you coming on, Akhi. Abdullah, I'm going to open up space for other individuals who have questions to ask on today's discussion. Guys, the purpose of me opening up these lines is for you to ask questions. If you have any questions that you want answered, that's the purpose of me opening up lines. Shazad, salam alaikum.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on? How are we doing, brother Shazad?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. What would you like to add to the discussion today, Shazad?
I just want to add to the conversation. I guess I want to add something in the conversation, but can I also ask you for advice or no?
Yes, yeah, طبعا. Please do. Yes. Ask the
Okay.
question.
So I've recently reconnected with someone, I guess, that I used to babysit, and like this is my mom's friend, his kids that I used to babysit, and she has become the legal age of marriage, and I'm kind of.
Oh God! You don't want to make your life easy, do you, bro? Flipping hell.
Why?
Go on. It's fine. It's fine. Go on.
Anyways, my thing is that she reminds me of me because I'm a person that hasn't always been Muslim. I've been recently a revert, I guess you could say. So I just feel that she would be the right person for me, and I feel like that my mom would personally like her too, and that she's still a virgin, which like matters to me a lot. Even though.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
How old is she?
18.
Okay, bro. You understand the optics, how this is going to look to the family, right?
Well, that's what I want to ask because it's like weird because I have a picture of me like holding her as a baby.
Look, from a marriage standpoint, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly normal. But from an optic standpoint of how the people will look at it, the first thing they're going to think is, how long have you been thinking about this, about my daughter? How long have you had this in your mind? How long have you had these arrangements in your mind on my daughter? For how long have you been thinking about her in this way? This is what's going to be going through that mind. Are you ready for that discussion? Because it's going to come.
I guess I never really thought of that, only because we used to babysit them up until they were 12, and then we kind of lost touch because they can like she's able to babysit herself after 13, right?
Yeah.
Like legally. So I haven't seen her until like recently, and she's become 18. So I was never thinking of those thoughts before. You know what I mean? Like I literally disappeared for 5, 7, 6 years or so. So
You're
I
not
just
married.
want-
You're not married right now.
No, and I've never been married, and I want to get married. I just
Mhm.
think like I've have older siblings that have been married and that have gotten married to, you know, out of love, out of
You're 30 years old. What has been the biggest obstacle towards you getting married? Because it's a long time to have never been married.
Western society, seeing my parents being divorced, seeing my older brother who's like 8 years older, 7 years older than me, go through a marriage and like get divorced very quickly. It turns me off, right? And especially like seeing my brother, who I love dearly, get rinsed by the system, where he's literally living like a slave right now to just keep paying his ex-wife. It kind of makes you think like,
okay,
who's the right person? And it's just like, is it even worth it? But because I've recently got in touch with Islam, I've noticed that marriage and having a family and, you know, having that is very important it's part of why we're alive. Like, you know, it's the main reasons to worship Allah, but it's also like for us to find our, you know, person that we want to marry and person that we want to create our clan with, I guess you could say, you know, create a legacy with. So I'm just more curious about this person because she's Arabic. My mom likes that. So my mom likes her as a person, where my older siblings who've gotten married, they haven't got along with my mom. It kind of like, you know what I mean? It takes a lot to please my mom, you know? So this one would be kind of like an easy fit for everything. And because she's not like, she's Muslim, but she's not fully Muslim.
What's your question? What's the major hurdle right now? What's the question that you want answered?
Like, how would you go about presenting this idea, right? Because
Just do
like
it.
you said,
just do it. There's no way of you to look. There's no. It's gonna be. You're gonna have to have that discussion and face that. They're gonna look at it like, what? You're 30. She's 18. Use the babysitter. But it is what it is. What else are you gonna do? Right. The reason why you're asking this is because you really want this to happen. So you want me to give you the foolproof way of. There is no foolproof way, and in all likelihood, you're most probably not gonna pull this off. So with that in mind, do it anyway. Now that you know that you most probably are not going to be able to pull this off, you're going to be able to approach this discussion with a much more relaxed demeanor. And that relaxed demeanor will actually increase the likelihood of you being able to pull it off. It's a paradox. Whereas when you approach it with a from an angle of, I've got to make this work, I've got to convert this lead, I've got to make the sale, I've got to marry her, then that anxious energy is transferred onto them. So just do it, akhi. Bismillah. If Allah has written this for you, alhamdulillah. And if He hasn't, then, you know, alhamdulillah as well.
Inshallah. And just my second follow-up to this, because I noticed you're married to more than one, or you said you've married to
I'm married to
more than one?
I'm married to more.
How do you go about that? Like
just do it, bruv.
But I've watched your videos here and there, but you never really tell us how do you go about telling a woman, look, I'm gonna marry other women and it's okay.
So
what type of woman do you have to have?
Have you watched my video? What's it called? Let's see now. It's one of the more recent videos on my channel, and the name of it is I got my wife to accept new wives. Have you seen that one?
No, I don't think so. So
okay,
I'll check that one out.
Let me just share this screen right here. Hold up. Let's share that screen. Boom. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that. Right. So this video here, you can see it here. Yeah. I got my here. I'm gonna with my cursor. I got my wife to accept me. I go into detail there, man. Like a whole video on that. That's like got 21K views. Watch that video. But for the purpose of to answer your question just here very quickly. So firstly, there's a number of things. Firstly and foremostly, I have made peace with the fact that when a man gets married again, there is a chance you could lose your current wife. You cannot. There's no foolproof way of this not happening. You might lose her. If you are not willing to face that reality, then don't get involved in polygyny in the first place, because that is the reality. You might lose her. All right, that's number one. Number two, I pick carefully with my women. I make sure that I pick women who have a subset of characteristics that make them more open to this topic in the first place. They're agreeable, they're friendly, they're not just friendly. Agreeableness is the most important characteristic. Agreeableness. Is she agreeable? Does she go along with your flow? If she goes along with your flow, most likely she's going to go along with your flow with polygyny as well, even if you get married again, even if she doesn't like it, if she dislikes it. And my wives happen to have good relationship with each other as well, alhamdulillah, which is a bonus. It's not a must, it's a bonus. They get on with each other quite well. We go out sometimes, you know, we have dinner together. Alhamdulillah, we make it work. But it's not a must. But the main thing is, like, look, you know, the energy that I give my wives, and it's all energy, and women are very susceptible to your energy. They know that I love them. They know this, but they also know that I'm willing to get rid of them if they cross a line. And that's scary for them, because they know that my love is not unconditional. It's very, very conditional, and that I will let them go, even if it's against myself, even if I still love her. Out of respect for my own dignity and pride, I'll let her go, even if I still love the woman. And they deeply respect that. And the funny thing is, them knowing that actually makes the relationship and the bond stronger, not weaker, because now they know they have to stay on their P's and Q's, and they respect it. Women respect men who are not P-whipped. You understand?
Yeah.
They respect a man who is not whipped by the thing, you understand, the P. They respect that. A man who is willing to turn his back on it if needs be, for the sake of protecting his principles. And all of that serves to actually strengthen the relationship, or relationships in this instance, serves to extend the likelihood of the marriage working out, and, you know, all of the stuff that you actually want in the first place. We can loosely call this the abundance mindset. Maybe we can call it that. Maybe that's what it is, abundance mindset.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your advice, and thank you for taking the time and putting out your content, because it's nice to hear it from a Islamic perspective.
Alhamdulillah,
I appreciate
my pleasure.
everything you do.
I appreciate you as well. Jazakallah khair, akhi Shazad. I appreciate you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's bring man like Bills back on. Have you fixed your dusty internet connection?
Connection is good now, Mahdi. This needs to bring my chair down now. Yay!
You know that. Yeah. Connection's good, the lighting's bad, but it's Bilal, so it doesn't matter. What are you saying, Bills?
Yeah, man. I just recently quit my job, man.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I concluded that accounting is for saddos, so I just quit.
Why?
It's for saddos, bruv. If you worked in accounting, man, everyone's just such a saddo. Just sit there all day looking at the data, yeah, just looking at how you not pay the month's invoice, and you know. It's just
well, you gotta be clever to be an accountant. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. But all right,
you know what, bro? I'm dumb, fam. I'm dumb.
Don't say that, Bilal. Don't say that.
I'm doing now, yeah. You know what I'm doing now? I work with my dad.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
I'm builder now, innit?
Oh, bin.
I'm Bilal Binay. I do wood flags, innit? The saw, bro.
Bilal the builder is actually
I worked with my dad before, innit? So it's better, innit?
Alhamdulillah. What are you saying, Bilal? Yeah. How's life been aside from that? You married now?
No, man, nah.
Still on it, yeah?
Yeah, man. I'm doing OnlyFans. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm not doing OnlyFans.
My foot, mate. My foot.
Well, the way you look today, you look like you could do some OnlyFans.
Bilal, how old are you now?
I'm 21, turning 22 in November.
You're still a baby chicken, mashallah.
A baby chicken.
Alhamdulillah. Bilal, you're good though, yeah?
Yeah, man. Yeah. On the topic of today, you know, does a woman have to be a virgin, innit? Yeah. I don't think so, man. I think it's all right, man. As long as it's
all right if she's been ran through, innit? It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal, is it? Yeah.
If she's been ran through by Chad Tyrone and whoever else, it's not a big deal. It's minor, light work.
Yeah.
Bilal, bruv. You know what? Maybe it was good that you got out of accounting. I think I agree with you, bro.
Yeah.
But what? I wouldn't have you build my house though. The thing might collapse for flip's sakes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yesterday, I was boarding up some houses with my dad and his friend. We were boarding up houses because they got the Notting Hill Carnival, and some people don't want trespassers on their property, so we're like boarding them up with like these boards.
Okay, and then
yeah.
I just got one question. What's that got to do with the price of fish, bro? We're talking about. Do you understand? Listen, Bilal, it's a pleasure, my man. Look after yourself, Habib. Assalamu alaikum. I'm gonna bring a couple more guys, and let me just grab this super chat real quick. Shout out to Sharp, Jazakallah khair for the 9.99 super chat. Akhi Sharp, some of you guys need the alpha boot camp. For real, bro. It's not even a joke, to be honest with you. Jazakallah khair for the super chat. You're now the sponsor of this stream, Sharp. Jazakallahu khairan. Marwan, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
I'm good. Are you Moroccan, Akh?
Yeah, I'm from Morocco, exactly.
Very Moroccan name. How you doing, Akhi Marwan?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Good, alhamdulillah. Yes, what would you like to ask?
I actually just would like to add up something about the woman being virgin. Of course, being educated as a Muslim, it's something that's really important to me, but throughout time, it has become almost irrelevant. How so? Because right now you can see a girl, I mean, we already talked about experiences like that, where a girl does basically everything, but she's still virgin.
Are you married?
No, not yet.
How old are you?
Looking though, I'm
How old
30.
You're 30. You've never been married before?
No, never. I'm looking really hard though,
And it's not so this if the sister when you say she's not virgin, do you mean that she's been married before or that she has had promiscuous encounters before? You don't mind either?
No, most of the sisters, even if they're virgin right now, they kind of have like promiscuous encounters before. So yeah, that's basically how it goes. So one thing I would have liked to add up is that it almost became irrelevant because most of the time you can't know. Basically, there are some stuff you might be doing, like checking out her dad, how controlling, how imposing he is, how good of an education, how he tried to make her fear God and so on. But other than that, I don't believe there are that many solutions you can do.
Yeah, I mean, this is the situation. This goes back to the beginning of the stream. Marwan, I appreciate you coming on. This goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, which is I don't want to minimize. See, here's the thing: I don't want to minimize the value of a girl's chastity and virginity. I don't want the girls who are watching, the sisters who are watching this, to think, oh, the guys are expecting us to be unchaste anyway, so let's just go and have fun. Let's go and have our hot girl summer. No. At the same time, yes, the reality is haram has become so easy, particularly for young women. Malik, salam alaikum. Malik Tate, are you there? Muhammad, salam alaikum. Big man Muhammad, are you there? All right, then you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.